Hello, everybody. Welcome back with Wine Thursday. This is Francesco, and this is Stefano, of course, from Fattoria
Hi
di
to everyone.
Montemaggio. And we're going live, as you can see from the little garden that we have in front of the tasting room. You can see also the house tower in the back. Of course, as always, we hope that everybody is doing great, and we're giving a little bit of time to people to join us, and also, of course, hello to the people that are going to watch the replay later. And of course, we are also hoping that you are doing great. So, how you doing, Stefano?
Oh, I'm pretty fine.
Yeah, pretty fine. We're actually
How
we're
are you?
actually I'm fine. I'm fine. Actually, this is the end of the working day, so of course we're maybe a little bit tired, but very very satisfied. So today the argument, of course, it will be the Montemaggio experience, and of course we're going to do a little recap about the different kind of experience you can live here, and maybe hopefully we're going to let's say guide you better, also in terms of the choice you can make about the experience that you want to live here. And anyway, before we actually dive into that kind of conversation, it's we wanted also to give a little bit of a update about, of course, the situation in the vineyard. Actually, as we noticed today, we are already starting with the invallatura process, with the Verizon moment. So the grapes are starting now to change the color already, which is pretty unusual, right,
Yeah,
Stefano?
for us it's pretty unusual because usually here in Fattoria di Montemaggio the horizon starts a little bit later. So it's probably because of the temperature here extremely hot, a lot of time with a lot of sun, no rain maybe also, so everything is a little bit earlier compared to what we usually have here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for the people that don't know, Verizon moment, it's that kind of a moment where the grapes are going to change color. They turn from green to black if it's a red variety, or from green to yellow if it's a white variety. And you have the first formation of glucosum and fructosum, which are transferred from the leaves into the
Absolutely.
actual grape. And so again, usually here it's pretty actually late, because generally speaking, it's a colder area. We're pretty high in altitude. But of course, this vintage, as you already understood from Stefano, it's extremely hot, and everything is like 1 month ahead, I would say. So even
Yeah,
the
probably.
harvest time most probably will be
Will be probably
earlier than the usual. And
maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
yeah,
I don't know.
what are you
We will
expecting
see.
from this vintage, honestly?
Honestly, probably darker color, maybe quite high alcohol components into the wine. Maybe also a little bit more body than usual.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
I'm not
I'm
sure.
expecting
We
a
will see.
little bit like more full body kind of wine compared to the usual kind of production we have here. I'm expecting a little bit more structure, more intensity, more concentration. Sangiovese that it's like going to be a little bit more muscular, and maybe speaking about the Classico, the 2015 that we have now out on the market. 2015 it was like a bit warmer year, but not extremely warm,
Yeah,
and it's a
exactly.
very fruit-driven wine, but it's not as concentrated as maybe potentially you can have in a vintage like this. You're going to have like
Yeah,
a very
absolutely.
very very important concentration in terms of the fruit notes, and so yeah, we will see what it will be. Of course, for sure we're going to produce very little, and
Yeah.
the quantity is of course it's not going to be the let's say best characteristic of this vintage. I would like to say this is not going to be a very conspicuous vintage, but maybe we can still going to produce a very beautiful wine. And what I'm saying is that also like a very faithful portraits to this vintage, right? So it's something that
I would
of course
say also something maybe a little bit unusual.
unusual. Yeah, absolutely.
Here,
Absolutely.
we're used to something different.
Something different, absolutely. But I mean, this is also the nice thing about enology and winemaking in general, and
Absolutely.
viticulture as well, right? So like sometimes you have an unusual situation and you make great wine out of that situation. They're anyway faithful to the climate and to the identity of that specific vintage, of that specific climate, and also maybe it will be a very good photography of this moment.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Hopefully,
I
of
agree.
course.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree absolutely.
Hopefully, anyway, we're going to produce anyway a very beautiful, beautiful wine. But I'm actually sure. Actually, 2021.
Let's
Like
see.
at this point in 2021, everybody was like going nuts because it was like super difficult vintage from the climatic point of view. But in the end, as we were like saying, we had the healthiest grape of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we already tasted
I
the
remember them. The grapes was beautiful last
Yeah.
year.
yeah.
I've
Very
never seen something like that.
but so you also tasted the fruit, let's say, of that vintage. So you already tasted like a 2021 rosé, the 2021 chardonnay.
Yeah,
We tasted some samples from the barrels
and they were amazing.
yeah, I also
Well,
think that
My taste.
Yeah,
That's
his
my
taste,
taste.
my taste
But
as well.
I really love them.
Yeah, the idea is that for the red wines, I think it's a little bit too early to judge.
Yeah. Maybe we
but
need a little bit more time.
more time,
for
more
the aging, for some stabilization also. Of
yeah,
the
yeah,
wine.
absolutely. But anyway, at the end of the day, I really think it's I mean, it's very beautiful. What in general happened in that specific vintage, because it started with a frost. Springtime was a little bit tough, and summertime started pretty rainy, and then bomb of heat exploded in
Yeah.
July, August, and September was also uncertain. And I mean, the wine, I think, is really reflecting that kind of moment. And it was like a very cold vintage in some moments, and I think you get that tension in the wine, which I really think is coming from that specific vintage. So I really like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so speaking about the Montemaggio experience, I mean, this is also part
Oh,
of the
right.
Montemaggio experience.
We should have talked about that. forgot.
It's also the beauty, the beauty. I mean, the good part of going live without like a schedule of the talk. You just talk in a very free way. It's a nice conversation. It's a wine conversation after all, right?
Yeah.
And but this is also part of the Montemaggio experience. When you come here, the idea is that we would like to have you like a full immersive kind of experience in the world of wine. And this is the world of wine. What is happening from the point of view of the climate, of the environment, what is happening in the vineyard, what is happening in the cellar. I mean, everything. And this is something I've been telling you since the beginning of this format. Everything that is happening in the fields or in the cellar is going to affect so much and to change dramatically what will be the product, the wine in the end.
Yeah.
And so every single little detail you do, or every single choice you make is going to change totally the wine in the
Yeah,
end. So that's the
absolutely.
beauty of it. And this is also, in my opinion, what we're trying to do in terms of like what we're trying to underline when people are coming here. That's the idea.
Yeah.
So what about in general the Montemaggio experience? You're living Montemaggio experience every day at this point. I'm doing that.
absolutely.
So when people are coming to join us, for tours and tasting, first of all, I hope that we managed to create, and I think we actually succeed in that. We probably succeed in creating, let's say, a wine tour that is a bit different. It's a visit that is really going to show you each and every step of the production. We start, generally speaking, talking about loads of wines, difference when it comes to what Chianti versus Chianti Classico. We do a little like immersive lesson to viticulture, and then also the enological processes are treated pretty much in the detail, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think the very very interesting part of this kind of experience is also like the tasting room. First of all, I think the tasting room that we have here, like we built up this place like a temple of relax, right? So come here, you enjoy the wines, you speak with the other people who are at the table with you. I think this is
you chill, you drink nice wine. It's relaxing.
It's relaxing environment.
You're not in a hurry.
Yeah, and we always try to let's say create like an introductory course to the word of tasting, because we think that generally speaking, as a wine lover, a person that is coming here needs to get the basic tool to evaluate a wine. Maybe in the end, this person will not like our wines, which can happen. Every person has his own palate. Every person has his own taste. So also, me and you, I think we have some point in common in terms of taste, but sometimes we
Yeah,
like
but maybe
opposite
something.
things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So maybe in the end, they will not really adore the product, and some other people will extremely adore the product, the wine and so on. But I hope that everybody that is coming here then is like going back home, having the basic tool to navigate the world of wine, and to evaluate better, what they like and what they don't like, and why they like specific things. And then of course, I hope of course they will also like the wine. But in general, I mean, people are
yeah.
very.
For example, I want to
See?
tell you one thing.
Yeah.
One thing that the first time that I came here and do the tour with you, I was my guides. For
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
one
First time I
thing
was
that
your
I
guide.
really appreciate is that everything that we at this moment explain during the tour outside is something that you can find inside of the glass,
Yeah.
and you can really understand better the wine
Yeah.
when you're tasting it. So I think that was very, very impressive. Also, something that I really liked.
Well, thank you very much, because I mean, take it
Oh,
also
you're
as a
welcome.
personal compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't remember this. I mean, I didn't remember I was the first person who guided you here. I thought it was Ilaria for some kind of reason, our manager and agronomist. Also because she's the one who's responsible and in charge of the intern. So
Yeah.
by the way, he was our intern last
Let's
harvest,
harvest.
and all the Montemaggio team literally like started to adore him, and then we asked him to stay, of course. And yeah, I mean, I don't remember this particular, so thank you so much for reminding me
Oh,
for
you're
the
welcome.
compliment.
You're welcome.
But I mean, that's the idea. This is a place that it's again, a temple of relax, where you can really find a moment for yourself and a moment to understand the wine. That's my idea about our experiences. And there are many different kind of also formats of tasting. There's there are some very long and immersive experience,
Yeah.
which are incredible. For example, today we did a beautiful blind tasting with
Yeah.
with
With all the other, well, complete tour, the tasting before, with also the blind taste.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
was
yeah,
a
exactly. Do you want,
complete
by the way, do you want to
experience.
explain a little bit how it is, the path of blind tasting, and the full immersion experience, which is also
Well,
connected to
everything starting from the beginning, so starting from the tour.
Yeah, if you like, you can.
Well, yeah, well, it's quite simple, because what we do is to start with the tour outside, as Francesco told you before, because we start by explaining various things about our winery, about the Chianti Classico areas, what are the difference between Chianti Classico and Chianti, for example. And then we give a lot of information and knowledge about viticulture, about the enological process, and also the aging of the wine. And then in the tasting room, you experience directly on the wine all the things that we told you during the tour. And then during the blind taste, for example, you try without knowing what you're drinking, to apply the things that maybe you already knew before coming here, but a lot of times something that you didn't know before. You apply what we told you, what we explained you during the tour, and also the tasting, to try to guess what kind of wine you are tasting, maybe, or what kind of for example, yeah, if you how can I say it? Well, let's say, let's say that during the blind taste, you have maybe to guess the color of the wine. If there is one that is which one is the youngest between the various wines that we are serving you? Which one is the oldest? Maybe if there is a defected wine,
Because by the
just to
way,
do something more interesting.
by the way, it could be sometimes a defect in the wine, especially when you are using with a natural cork. And
Yeah,
it
yeah,
can happen.
absolutely.
And you, as a wine lover, you should be aware of that. That's the point, especially when you're going to the restaurant. It's very helpful to know how it sounds like a bottle that is defected, how it tastes, and how it also smell. So when you go to the restaurant, what we were saying, like, you make an investment in pleasure, right? So you don't want to have defective wine. So it's better that you
That you know.
actually
How it tastes.
So
Defected wine.
yeah, this is pretty much the whole full immersion with blind experience, I would say, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good way to start, also to taste and evaluate wine by yourself. So even for a beginner, I think it's a real great experience.
Yeah, I have to agree completely.
And when it comes about a full immersion experience without blind tasting, it's pretty much what he described in the first place, without the blind tasting. The classic tour, I would say, it's pretty much like a condensed version of exactly
of the full experience.
So instead of like 7 wine, which is the wine tasting for the blind, of course, tasting and the full immersion experience, you get 5 wines, and it's a little bit shorter than kind of experience, I would say. But anyway, it's like pretty much the valuable insight.
Yeah, it has the same value, but
Exactly.
you just taste a little bit less.
A little bit
also
less.
If you have less time.
Exactly,
for the tasting,
exactly. That's the reason why we've created that kind of format. And there's also like a mini tasting, like a mini tour, let's say, which is pretty much like a tasting in a here at the tasting room, and like a little bit faster as an experience. Sometimes we understand people come here and they're a little bit more in a hurry. So of course we want to welcome them anyway and give them the best out of that experience, which is I think very important. So we created also let's say a shorter, exactly, super condensed kind of experience. So yeah,
where we try to give the most possible information
exactly
in the shorter possible time.
Exactly, and that's pretty much the idea. Anyway, this kind of live stream where we'll talk about services is just another way to invite you here, because we adore being around people. I think you,
absolutely.
Ilaria, the manager, Eduardo, the cellarman, actually the master cellar, as I like to call him, the master of the cellar, and we always like to be around people. And I think this is the reason why we also started to do hospitality this way. And I think it's very important for us to share our passion. Wine is all about passion. If you don't share it, it's a pity sometimes, right? Because you don't. Anytime we meet someone that is coming here for tasting, I feel like we learn something more about wine, about people, about different culture. And then I feel like it's one of those it's one of those job, or at least it's one of the part of our job, of my job and your job, that is like giving you the most, and in terms of also an experience. That's the idea. So anyway, whenever you want, of course, to come here, and please feel free to book an appointment. We will be so happy to welcome you and to let you live the full Montemaggio experience, like we're doing. Actually, it's a very I like to think it's a very real thing, and we try to treat you like you're part of the team at that point, right? That's the idea. Anyway, it was a pleasure for me, and also for you,
for me,
to be here. And I'm very happy, because I think in the next few weeks, Stefano will be more and more part of this live stream. So it will be amazing for me to have someone to chat with for the experience and for the live stream. Sorry, you can tell it was a long day. And so again, thank you very much, and thank you to all of you, to the people that joined the stream, and to the people, of course, are joining the replay later. So thank you so much, and we're going to make a little brindisi to you, a little toast to you. And again, we're hoping that you're doing great. So chin chin, and see you next time. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.